The Gospel according to Mark. The Holy Bible, easy to read version. Chapter 6. Jesus left and went back to his hometown. His followers went with him. On the Sabbath day, Jesus taught in the synagogue, and many people heard him. They were amazed and said, "Where did this man get this teaching? How did he get such wisdom? Who gave it to him? And where did he get the power to do miracles? Isn't he just the carpenter we know, Mary's son, the brother of James, Joses, Judas, and Simon? And don't his sisters still live there with him in town?" So they had a problem accepting him. Then Jesus said to them, "People everywhere give honor to a prophet, except in his own town, with his own people, or in his own home." Jesus was not able to do any miracles there, except the healing of some sick people by laying his hands on them. He was surprised that the people there had no faith. Then he went to other villages in that area and taught. Jesus called his 12 apostles together. He sent them out in groups of 2 and gave them power over evil spirits. This is what he told them. "Take nothing for your trip, except a stick for walking. Take no bread, no bag, and no money. You can wear sandals, but don't take extra clothes. When you enter a house, stay there until you leave that town. If any town refuses to accept you or refuses to listen to you, then leave that town and shake the dust off your feet as a warning to them." The apostles left and went to other places. They talked to the people and told them to change their hearts and lives. They forced many demons out of people and put olive oil on many who were sick and healed them. King Herod heard about Jesus because Jesus was now famous. Some people said, "He is John the Baptizer. He must have risen from death, and that is why he can do these miracles." Other people said, "He's Elijah." And other people said, "He's a prophet. He is like the prophets who lived long ago." Herod heard these things about Jesus. He said, "I killed John by cutting off his head. Now he has been raised from death." Herod himself had ordered his soldiers to arrest John and put him in prison. Herod did this to please his wife Herodias. She had been married to Herod's brother Philip, but then Herod married her. John told Herod, "It is not right for you to be married to your brother's wife." So Herodias hated John. She wanted him dead, but she was not able to persuade Herod to kill him. Herod was afraid to kill John because he knew that he was good and a holy man. So he protected him. He liked listening to John, although what John said left him with so many questions. Then the right time came for Herodias to cause John's death. It happened on Herod's birthday. Herod gave a dinner party for the most important government leaders and commanders of his army, and the most important people in Galilee. The daughter of Herodias came to the party and danced. When she danced, Herod and the people eating with him were very pleased. So King Herod said to the girl, "I will give you anything you want." He promised her, "Anything you ask for, I will give you, even half my kingdom." The girl went to her mother and asked, "What should I ask King Herod to give me?" Her mother answered, "Ask for the head of John the Baptist." So right then, the girl went back to the king, and she said to him, "Please give me the head of John the Baptizer. Bring it to me now on a plate." King Herod was very sad, but he didn't want to break the promise he had made to her in front of his guests. So he sent a soldier to cut off John's head and bring it to him. The soldier went and cut off John's head in the prison. He brought the head back on a plate and gave it to the girl, and the girl gave it to her mother. John's followers heard about what happened, so they came and got John's body and put it in a tomb. The apostles Jesus had sent out came back to him. They gathered around him and told him all about what they had done and what they had taught. Jesus said his followers were in a very busy place. There were so many people that he and his followers did not even have time to eat. He said to them, "Come with me. We will go to a quiet place to be alone. There we will get some rest." So Jesus and his followers went away alone. They went in a boat to a place where no one lived. But many people saw them leave and knew who they were. So people from every town ran to the place where they were going and got there before Jesus. As Jesus stepped out of the boat, he saw a large crowd waiting. He felt sorry for them because they were like sheep without a shepherd to care for them. So he taught the people many things. It was now very late in the day. Jesus' followers came to him and said, "No one lives around here, and it is already very late. So send the people away. They need to go to the farms and towns around here to buy some food to eat." But Jesus answered, "You give them some food to eat." They said to Jesus, "We can't buy enough bread to feed all these people. We would all have to work a month to earn enough to buy that much bread." Jesus asked them, "How many loaves of bread do you have now? Go and see." They counted their loaves of bread. They came to Jesus and said, "We have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish." Then Jesus said to them, "Tell everyone to sit in groups on the green grass." So all the people sat in groups. There were about 50 or 100 people in each group. Jesus took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish. He looked up to the sky and thanked God for the food. Then he broke the bread into pieces, which he gave to his followers to distribute to the people. Then he divided the 2 fish amongst everyone there. They all ate until they were full. After they finished eating, the followers filled 12 baskets with the pieces of bread and fish that were left. There were about 5,000 men who ate. Then Jesus told the followers to go get into the boat. He told them to go to the other side of the lake to Bethesda. He said he would come later. He stayed there to tell everyone they could go home. After he said goodbye to them, he went up to the hills to pray. That night, the boat was still in the middle of the lake. Jesus was alone on the land. He saw the boat far away on the lake, and he saw the followers working hard to row the boat. The wind was blowing against them. Sometime between 3 and 6 o'clock in the morning, Jesus went out to the boat, walking on the water. He continued walking until he was almost past the boat. But the followers saw Jesus walking on the water. They thought he was a ghost, and then they started screaming. It scared them all to see him. But he spoke to them and said, "Don't worry, it's me. Don't be afraid." When he got down into the boat with the followers, the wind stopped. The followers were completely amazed. They could not believe what had happened. It was like the miracle he did with the bread. They still didn't understand what that meant. Jesus and his followers went across the lake and came to a shore at Gennesaret. They tied the boat there. When they were out of the boat, the people there saw Jesus. They knew who he was, so they ran to tell others throughout that area. They brought sick people on mats to every place Jesus went. Jesus went into towns, cities, and farms around the area. And every place he went, the people brought sick people to the marketplace. They begged him to let them touch any part of his coat, and all those who touched him were healed. Some Pharisees and some teachers of the law came from Jerusalem and gathered around Jesus. They saw that some of his followers ate food with hands that were not clean, meaning that they did not wash their hands in a special way. The Pharisees and all the other Jews never eat before washing their hands in this special way. They do this to follow the traditions they have from their great leaders who lived long ago. And when these laws buy something in the market, they never eat it until they wash it in a special way. They also follow other rules from their people who lived before them. They follow rules like washing of cups, pitchers, and pots. The Pharisees and teachers of the law said to Jesus, "Your followers don't follow the traditions we have from our great leader who lived long ago. They eat their food with hands that are not clean. Why do they do this?" Jesus answered, "You are all hypocrites. Isaiah was right when he wrote these words from God about you. These people honor me with their words, but I am not really important to them. Their worship of me is worthless. The things they teach are only human rules. You've stopped following God's commandments, preferring instead the man-made rules you got from others." Then he said, "You show great skill in avoiding the commands of God so that you can follow your own teachings. Moses said, "You must respect your father and mother." He also said, "Whoever says anything bad to their father or mother must be killed." But you teach that people can say to their father and mother, "I have something I can use to help you, but I will not use it for you. I will give it to God." You are telling people that they do not have to do anything for their father or mother. So you are teaching that it is not important to do what God said. You think it is more important to follow those traditions you have, which you pass on to others. And you do many things like that. Jesus called the people to him again. He said, "Everyone should listen to me and understand what I am saying. There is nothing people can put in their mouth that will make them wrong. People are made wrong by what comes from inside of them." Then Jesus left the people and went into the house. The followers asked Jesus about what he had told the people. He said, "Do you still have trouble understanding? Surely you know that nothing that enters the mouth from outside can make people unacceptable to God. Food does not go into a person's mind. It goes into the stomach. Then it goes out of the body." When Jesus said this, he meant there is no food that is wrong for people to eat. And Jesus said, the things that make people wrong are the things that come from outside. All these bad things begin inside a person, in the mind. Bad thoughts, sexual sins, stealing, murder, adultery, greed, doing bad things to people, lying, doing things that are morally wrong, jealousy, insulting people, proud talking, and foolish living. These evil things come from inside a person, and these are the things that make people unacceptable to God. Jesus went from there to the area around Tyre. He did not want the people in that area to know he was there, so he went into a house. But he could not stay hidden. A woman heard that he was there. Her little daughter had an evil spirit inside her, so the woman came to Jesus and bowed down near his feet. She was not a Jew. She was born in Phoenicia, an area in Syria. She begged Jesus to force the demon out of her daughter. Jesus told the woman, "It is not right to take the children's bread and give it to the dogs. First let the children eat all that they want." She answered, "That is true, Lord. But the dogs under the table can eat the pieces of food that the children don't eat." Then he told her, "That is a very good answer. You may go. The demon has left your daughter." The woman went home and found her daughter lying on the bed. The demon was gone. Then Jesus left the area around Tyre and went through Sidon. On his way to Lake Galilee, he went through the area of the 10 towns. While he was there, some people brought a man to him who was deaf and could not talk clearly. The people begged Jesus to put his hand on the man to heal him. Jesus led the man away from the people to be alone with him. He put his fingers in the man's ears. Then he spit on the finger and put it on the man's tongue. Jesus looked up at the sky and with a loud sigh said, Ephphatha. This means open. As soon as Jesus did this, the man was able to hear. He was able to use his tongue, and he began to speak clearly. Jesus told the people not to tell anyone about this. But the more he told them not to say anything, the more people they told. They were all completely amazed. They said, "Look at what he has done. It's all good. He makes deaf people able to hear and gives a new voice to people who could not talk." Another time, there were many people with Jesus. The people had nothing to eat. So he called his followers to him and said, "I feel sorry for these people. They've been with me for 3 days, and now they have nothing to eat. I should not send them home hungry. If they leave without eating, they will faint on the way home. Some of them live a long way from here." Jesus' followers answered, "But we are far away from many towns. Where can we get enough bread to feed all these people?" Then Jesus said, "How many loaves of bread do you have?" They answered, "We have 7 loaves of bread." Jesus told the people to sit on the ground. Then he took the 7 loaves and gave thanks to God. He broke the bread into pieces and gave them to his followers. He told them to give the bread to the people, and they did as he said. The followers also had a few small fish. Jesus gave thanks for the fish and told them to give the fish to the people. They all ate until they were full. Then the followers filled 7 baskets with the pieces of food that were left. There were about 4,000 men who ate. After they ate, Jesus told them to go home. Then he went in a boat with his followers to the area of Dalmanutha. The Pharisees came to Jesus and asked him questions. They wanted to test him. So they asked him to do a miracle as a sign from God. Jesus sighed deeply and said, "Why do you people ask to see a miracle as a sign? I want you to know that no miracle will be done to prove anything to you." Then Jesus left them and went in the boat to the other side of the lake. The followers had only 1 loaf of bread with them in the boat. They forgot to bring more bread. Jesus warned them, "Be careful. Guard against the yeast of the Pharisees and the yeast of Herod." The followers discussed the meaning of this. They said, "He said this because we have no bread?" Jesus knew that the followers were talking about this. So he asked them, "Why are you talking about having no bread? Do you still not see or understand? Are you not able to understand? Do you have eyes that can't see? Do you have ears that can't hear? Do you remember what I did before when we did not have enough bread? I divided 5 loaves of bread for 5,000 people. Remember how many baskets you filled with pieces of food that were not eaten?" The followers answered, "We filled 12 baskets. And when I divided 7 loaves of bread for 4,000 people, "How many baskets did you fill with the leftover pieces?" They answered, "We filled 7 baskets." Then he said to them, "Do you remember these things I did?" But you still don't understand. Jesus and his followers came to Bethesda. Some people brought a blind man to him and begged him to touch the man. So Jesus held the blind man's hand and led him out of the village. Then he spit on the man's eyes. He laid his hands on him and asked, "Can you see now?" The man looked up and said, "Yes, I see people. They look like trees walking around." Again, Jesus laid his hands on the man's eyes, and the man opened them wide. His eyes were healed, and he was able to see everything clearly. Jesus told him to go home. He said, "Don't go into town." Jesus and his followers went to the towns in the area of Caesarea Philippi. While they were traveling, Jesus asked the followers, "Who do people say that I am?" They answered, "Some people say you are John the Baptizer. Others say you are Elijah. And others say you are one of the prophets." Then Jesus asked, "Who do you say I am?" Peter answered, "You are the Messiah." Jesus told the followers, "Don't tell anyone who I am." Then Jesus began to teach his followers that the Son of Man must suffer many things. He taught that the Son of Man would not be accepted by the older Jewish leaders, the leading priests, and the teachers of the law. He said that the Son of Man must be killed and then rise from death after 3 days. Jesus told them everything that would happen. He did not keep anything secret. Peter took Jesus away from the other followers to talk to him alone. Peter criticized him for saying these things. But Jesus turned and looked at his followers. Then he criticized Peter. He said to Peter, "Get away from me, Satan. You don't care about the same things God does. You care only about things that people think are important." Then Jesus called the crowd and his followers to him. He said, "Any of you who want to be my follower must stop thinking about yourself and what you want. You must be willing to carry the cross that is given to you for following me. Any of you who try to save the life you have will lose it. But you who give up your life for me and for the good news will save it. It is worth nothing for you to have the whole world if you yourself are lost. You could never pay enough to buy back your life." People today are so sinful, they have not been faithful to God. As you live among them, don't be ashamed of me and my teaching. If that happens, I will be ashamed of you when I come to the glory of my Father and the holy angels. Then Jesus said, "Believe me when I say that some of you people standing here will see God's kingdom come with power before you die."